Hello, my faithful listeners. Welcome back. It's just me solo today. I'm doing something a little bit different. I was going to hold off on this episode, but I decided that I'm just going to fucking send it. Just woke up and decided to send it. In lieu of this podcast being about mental strength and mindset and what it takes to become a good person, I decided what I want to do is I'm going to share a story about me and the hardest thing I've dealt with in my life, and just share the steps that I had to take on a daily and figure out myself that helped me get through it. And so doing that, hopefully, if you ever know anyone going through a hard time or seems like they're struggling, if I'm able to change one person's life or bring positivity or anything to light with this, that would make it all worth it. And I told myself through this. We'll touch up on that later on down this recording. But I'm going to start out with a little story, a little background from me. And then I'm going to get into the steps that I had to kind of build mental toughness. And to this day, I wonder if it's something that I had to build myself or if it's something that was always in me. And I think these questions actually eventually sparked the interest in starting this whole project in general, which is the podcast. So the topic is depression and anxiety. Now, this is a complete motherfucker because some people get it and some people don't. Some people get it really bad and some people, brush it off really well. And I want to say it's a mentality thing. It's got to be something mental, but at the same time, if it was something that mental and that controllable, which it is, but until you learn how to tame the beast, it's a very, very hard thing to deal with. And in my case, I remember all the way back being about, teenager, and almost just waking up one day with this complete dopamine dump where, there was like not a happy feeling in my brain or body or motivation. And I remember that being just about the first bout I had with it, and spending, weeks, maybe even months, looking at other kids playing, having fun, jumping around, smiling, joking, getting into shit and enjoying it. And me being the kid on the sideline, like, why don't I enjoy this? Why am I not feeling anything? And the hardest part for me was I didn't know what was happening to me. I just thought I was broken. Fast forwarding through the first time I had it, and just eventually I bounced back. I found some shit that made me happy, and went back to run around the neighborhood and doing whatever I enjoyed, and getting with some friends and stuff, and back to normal. Then a little bit later on down the road in life, I remember being about 16, 17, and this happening to me again. You're having fun at that age. You're learning, you're driving, you're gaining a lot of freedom like I did. And fuck, man, if I didn't have to come home, I didn't. I would be out all night if I could. And, just always getting into something, always having fun. And it hit me again like a ton of bricks. I just remember, one day coming home from school, walking home from the school bus. I think I was excited to go out and do something after I got home and ate and had lunch, or, after school snack. And I remember just walking home, and all of a sudden it was almost like someone hit an off switch. My whole brain just dumped. It was like literally like nothing. I was, completely empty feeling. It freaked me out because it gave me like a flashback almost as to like when it happened to me as a kid. And again, no idea what's going on. And when you're that young and you see everyone around you having the time of their fucking life, and you're just sitting here with like, weird thoughts and feelings all day, you kind of feel broken. And, you know, I didn't talk about it. I held it in, mentally fought it day in, day out. I think this bout lasted about 6 months. It took me about 6 months to shake this shit off. And, you know, I spent a whole summer going out and just acting as if everything was normal. And eventually I bounced back. I managed to, you know, start having fun again, finding things that I enjoyed, and, you know, fully committing. You know, when you go to feeling like shit and not excited to finding stuff that makes you feel good, you kind of overcommit. And I think that's what happened to me at that point, because for a few years nothing happened. But I remember being around the age of 21, 22, getting into partying. Friends are in college, so you go and visit them, and the same exact thing happened to me again. I was out one night partying in Tallahassee with some FSU friends, and I was at a bar, and literally just out of nowhere, whole brain, everything just completely dropped. Couldn't figure it out, and it was freaking me out. And I'm getting these weird thoughts, these weird feelings, this panicky / what's going on / why can't I snap out of this? Why can't I shake it? What is wrong with me? And at this point, I'm calling friends, and I'm like, have you ever felt this way, man? Hey, man, I went out last night and kind of started feeling this way, and I woke up today feeling like shit. Can't shake it. Like, what's going on? You know, and here's where it gets really hard, because it was so tough for me to hold it in, because I was struggling with it all over again, and I had nothing to go off of. All I knew was I just kind of felt like I was broken. Very, very tough. I had to like dig really deep and figure out, you know, not necessarily how to shake it, but how to just survive with it. And these feelings of, you know, if you haven't felt anxiety before, it's like a very panicky, claustrophobic, for everyone it's different, but just like a very uncomfortable hole that you just feel you're stuck in. And of course, along with that comes depression. And that is, you know, you have the want to do something, but you just don't have the willpower to get there. And with this story, or where I'm going with this, is I spent years in this mental state and snapping out of it a little bit, going back into it, snapping out a little bit, going back into it, talking to people about it. And it took me years to finally run into somebody or a person that I was able to talk to, that had a similar situation, and the burden it lifted off my shoulders was tremendous. Huge game changer. Because there's nothing like spending all this time watching people in their prime, young 20s, having a blast no matter what the fuck they're doing, confident about everything they're fucking doing, and sitting there on the sideline wondering why you can't get in that zone or feel the same way. So eventually I just had to build this mindset that I think differently. I had to wake up like physically sick from the stress that I created for myself. I had to find little ways to push through my day and figure out, you know, what I'm doing this for. And, you know, it is a very hard and tough thing to get really deep into. It's very, very scary. But it's real. And I always told myself, if I'm ever snap out of this and I'm able to help somebody in this state, I definitely would. So circling back to where I left off, it took me years to finally be talking to somebody and actually get someone who I truly felt like understood what mind space I was stuck in and what zone I was stuck in. And it was at that point that it lifted a burden. It did not fix me by any means, but it let me know that it's real. And this is just about when I started figuring out exactly what I'm dealing with. Because the whole time up until this point, I have no idea what an anxiety attack is. I have no idea that there's like a clinical depression. I just felt like I was broken. And it took me years to climb out of that. It took me years to find out that this was like a real thing. And now that I'm in my young 30s, I'm seeing it more and more with people and family and friends that, you know, kind of mention being in this, and it's completely normal. If anyone out there is going through a hard time or knows anyone or someone seems somewhat off to them, it might just be mentioning to them, you know, how are you feeling? Are you okay? And if they ever open up, just let them know it's normal and it's beatable. Just like anything else in life, it's beatable. It's just a very tough thing. It's one of those things that I don't think you can explain to another person and truly get it across exactly how tough it is and exactly how it feels. And I think everyone deals with it differently, and it's different for every person. So it took a long time. You get so stuck in this like state of mind that you actually get uncomfortable getting out of that state of mind. You're so used to waking up with anxiety attacks and starting your day with panic, having such severe ups and downs throughout your whole entire day, that when you start feeling good or things make you feel good, or you have like a natural like dopamine hit, like, you know, you start, anything just kind of triggers you and makes you laugh a lot or start feeling really good, you don't trust it because you're scared of falling back down to the bottom and going, you know, right back to where this all started and slamming. So the other thing is overcorrection. Like I said earlier, when I had it when I was younger, I think what would happen is I'd find something that made me feel good, and I would 110% balls to the wall pursue that because that was what was making me feel good and, you know, on cloud nine. And I think that just like anything else in life, there's a balance, and that's an overcorrection that might have led to why I hit hard again in my young 20s. I have no idea who's handling trash at 10 p.m. at night, but anyway, I like recording outside and kind of getting the organic feeling. But anyway, back to the back to focusing here. So one thing I want to say is, because there would be mornings where I wake up and you feel normal for about 10 seconds until the first thing that crosses your mind is like, do I feel normal or not? And then boom, the second you think that, you start convincing yourself you don't feel normal, and you start worrying about feeling normal. And then you end up in these vicious little circles. So what's really big is to break the circles. Because when you're in these anxiety and depression circles, you always find another reason to have the anxiety and the depression again. You got to break the circle. You get so paranoid that like you're going to feel it again, that you feel, you work your way through these mental questions. For me, it was like existential questions. Why do we exist? Why are we here? What is the point? What is life? And you come up with an answer that makes you feel good, but then there's always a question behind it that knocks you back off the elephant. And I think it's very important to cut that off, and that, because that will trigger the circles all over again. It's very important to find something to settle your mind onto and break the circles before they start again. Find out, what comes behind it, and don't pay it any attention. Just go right back to, your belief system. With these pains, I think there's a lot of growth as well. As hard as it is to deal with, I think there is, a reward for pushing through it, and a deeper mental understanding of yourself. So there is a positivity and a silver lining to it. Break the circles. Don't allow yourself to keep questioning and questioning and questioning. Once you hit the answers that puts your brain at ease, your mind at ease, and makes you feel good for whatever's creating the anxiety or whatever's on your mind. Stick with that. Don't let other questions come behind it, and fight off just, paying it any extra mind. The other thing is getting the fuck out of bed. This is tough. What are you going to do with your day? You feel like shit. You don't even want to get out of bed, almost like you're physically ill. And I think the best thing to do here, just continue your fucking day like as if you don't have it. Pretend like you don't. Pretend like it's not even there. I know this sounds stupid because it's going to be on your mind. It's going to be the top of your mind. It's going to be easier said than done. But just go about your normal day. And just think about a goal for the day or a purpose for the day. I'm going to complete this today. Start small. Make small little goals for yourself. You got to make a ladder and you got to start climbing it. And I promise you're going to feel like, if you're at the point to where it's running you and run you into the ground for a whole entire day and it's ruining days and weeks at a time, you have to find a purpose. You have to come up with something. It doesn't have to be permanent, but just something to get you through the day and get the steps started and getting the momentum in the other direction. You got to curve your mind to start thinking positive and goal oriented. Get out of bed. For me, it was hard to get out of bed. It was hard to start my day. It was the first thing on my mind in the shower in the morning. It was, how much of my day am I going to enjoy? How long is this going to last? Is it going to go away? Why do I feel this way? And I had to just, tell myself, like, small shit. Like, I'm going to take a shower and get out of the shower and then start worrying. And sure as shit, over a couple of days, it's like, okay, well, I can get out of bed to the shower and shower without worrying. I told myself I'm not going to worry in the shower. I can worry after the shower. It's not like it completely went away, but it was one step towards turning the momentum around. So I create small goals, even if it's, I'm going to tie my shoes, I'm going to walk to the end of the street and back today, or I'm going to get 30 minutes of sun. I'm going to try a workout. I'm going to try taking fish oil and seeing if I start feeling better, just whatever it is, small goals and maybe even big goals. But stay focused on those, and I promise they'll snowball the other way, and pretty soon small goals will turn to big goals, and big goals will take up your mind and your mentality more than, the negative and the anxiety creating circles. The other big thing is there's going to be times throughout your day, especially if you stay busy enough and keep yourself busy and keep yourself on a normal schedule, little moments during the day that make you feel the best, whether it's, go outside, mow the fucking lawn, sit on the couch and watch an episode of anime, or watch, an inspirational speech, or, an episode of a show that takes your mind off of things. If those are the small little moments in your day where you go mindless and you don't think about feeling like shit, then start there and stick with that. What would get me through hard days a lot is honestly, once I got back into jiu-jitsu, which was really tough because that was something I really enjoyed, but being in that mindset of being afraid to enjoy things too much and going back to something I really enjoyed was kind of tough. And it was one of them small things where I had to create a small goal just to walk into a jiu-jitsu gym and tell myself, well, I'll just do a trial class. I haven't been in a jiu-jitsu gym in years. I'll just do like a free trial and see how I feel. And, no obligation. And sure as shit, I walked into a jiu-jitsu gym and I did the free trial and I eventually stayed. And you know what? For me, being able to train for an hour and a half to 2 hours a day, during that time, I was not thinking about anything other than training. You're like stuck in the moment. You're working hard, you're working out, and you're trying to beat another human being at 40 chess, and it's just small things like that. So I was eventually able to divert my whole day and mentality to getting to the gym. I need to get to the gym. That is my outlet. That is the hour and a half out of my day where I don't think about anything. And eventually just build off that. Just like I said earlier, create your small goals for your small ladder and you just build off of that. So find out what makes you feel best and build off of it. If it's, arts and crafts, if it's helping somebody always helps. If you're able to give a person a hand or some advice or, whatever it is, it always feels good to help somebody. That can always, help give you momentum in the other direction, not in the bad direction, but in a good direction. So I would say follow those rules. The other thing is you're totally normal. You're not broken. I spent years thinking I was broken, thinking, what the fuck is wrong with me? Thinking I'm just a different human being. Eventually I embraced it. Eventually I said, well, I'm a different human being. I think fucking different. I'm just something else, and that's fine. And, but what came with that was me accepting myself, because the positive thing was first comparing myself, which is terrible. Do not compare. Don't look at other people who are happy or other things and compare. That is like one of the first steps to making you feel negative. Is if you look at someone and compare, look at females. When they see a girl walking down the street or walking down the beach in a bikini, first thing they do is compare themselves. And how often do you see a girl who truly sounds like she's comparing herself because she is truly optimistic about it? Right? So don't fucking do that to yourself. You're normal. Don't compare yourself to anyone. And the positive part of this is even if you aren't normal and even if you are different, that's even fucking better. And the only way to truly accept that is to love yourself, which is all you got in the long run. You came in this world alone. You're going to leave this world alone. So why not spend some time loving yourself and building yourself? It's all fine. And feel free to talk about it. Tell people, bring it up. It doesn't matter how many people don't know. You will be surprised how many people don't know shit about it and have never been there or have had it in a completely different way than you have it. But talk about it. You'll eventually find someone to help put your nerves at ease. We're humans. As much as, you want to be a loner, or as much as you want to be strong on your own, kind of not completely contradicting what I just said about loving yourself and being a loner, but there is a human comfort level in numbers. And the burden and the weight you can feel when you find someone who's alike or has hit a struggle like you have, it could be worth a conversation. And, there's always something to get out of it. One of the other things I did to help get myself through this one step at a time is I tried my best. I'm not the best at this. I'm actually very cynical, but I tried to turn as many things in my day into a positive. So being stuck in this mindset, you might start pinpointing and looking at stuff that you don't like. That's fine. It's completely fine. But it's like I tell people when you argue about politics or anything like that, if you're looking for something, you're gonna find it. If you're looking for reasons to hate something, you're gonna find reasons to hate it. If you're looking for reasons to love something, you're gonna find reasons to love something. So try to catch yourself looking for shit you love more than looking for shit that you don't love. Okay? So, one thing I would do was would catch myself like somebody would piss me off or somebody would do something completely fucking dumb. To this day, it still fucking happens. I can't claim to be perfect at this. All I can claim is that it helps and it gives me something to concentrate on other than being in a bad mind state. But you catch someone who's dumb and you judge them and you say, oh, what a fucking dumbass. Why would you do that? Why is that guy just doing this stupid shit? End that statement and concentrate on ending that statement with, but hey, he is doing something right. So, props to him. Anytime you catch yourself hating or being negative or being a douche, try to at least follow it up with something positive about the person. You can critique, but follow up that critique with a, a favor or like a flaunt or, something positive. You can look at a trash can and be like, oh, that's a stinky ass trash can. And then you could be like, but at least all the trash is in one contained spot and I don't have to stand next to it. Stuff like that. I know it sounds corny. I know it sounds small, but hey, you'll take anything when you're in these anxiety loops and depression, is settling in. I don't really, like I said, I spent many years in this mindset, and I think the hardest part about it was I had a lot of time to grow in that bad negative mindset just because I had no idea I was in it. But it's somewhat of a snowball effect, and as you fight and learn to actually deal with it and get out of it, you'll notice more people who are stuck in it as well. And the scary part is it's kind of something you have to do on your own. So if I'm not hitting the nail on the head with this conversation, if it doesn't sound exactly like what you're dealing with or someone you know is dealing with, or if you refer this to somebody that could maybe help, I promise you, it's just your own way, your own mind dealing with it its own way. We're all different. So of course it's not going to be the exact same for everybody, but you got to find those little moments in your day to hold on to and look forward to. And if your whole day is shit and sucks, look forward to that last hour of the day or that afternoon nap or that little project you got set up for later, and make that the time that you look forward to it. The more you trick your mind and tell your mind you're looking forward to that, the less you're going to be bugged by anxiety when you get to that point. I promise you. This is something that I don't want it to be a depressing podcast. I hope this isn't something that throws anybody off. I just felt like I would share my story, a little bit of it, give you like a little bit of insight. It does get pretty dark. I don't want to dive into the complete darkness of it. I don't want to dive into the complete scary, struggles and thought processes exactly. But I thought I could brush on it enough to maybe even help somebody out there and just kind of give someone some motivation and let them know that, I myself am a person who's dealt with this. I've had a roommate that, as I was climbing out of it and couldn't find anyone, it's funny because I lived with him before and he had no idea what the hell I was talking about and thought I was crazy, which made me feel crazy because it's a good friend of mine. And then later on down the road, I'm finding him going through the same loops and shit. And we were able to have conversations and talk about it. And, it came around full circle. I was able to help him. And I just hope I'm able to help you. I'm going to do my best if this is ever on a platform, like I said, to share. Feel free to share your story or reach out. Or, like I said, find someone to talk to about it. Don't bottle it up because it will grow and it will get worse. And that's going to be my story for today. I want everyone out there to stay positive. Find your purpose. It's not going to come overnight. Just like anything else worth it, it's going to take time. And that is one more thing I will share is, I didn't fully snap out of it until I had my daughter. And still even then it took a long time. And eventually my daughter just kind of grew on me, and it truly did make me feel like a purpose, and other than that, I was almost on like a day-to-day survival, not necessarily day-to-day survival, but you know what I mean? I was getting through my days and just living with the habits I built to get through and fight the kind of stuff. So it is worth pushing through. It's never worth giving up until actually it's just never worth giving up. You never know what's around the corner. It could literally be any second now. the right thing will come and get you out of it. So anyway, guys, stay strong. There's no use in sitting around crying about it. Push about your day. You're stronger than you think you are. Get some shit done. Get as much shit done in your day as you can. Keep yourself occupied and your mind occupied, and you'll grow. Thanks for listening. Peace.
I think the podcast is fucking sick. If you're listening to it and you're like, I don't know if I want to listen to the next episode of this podcast, you're probably a bitch ass. You need to listen to the next episode of this podcast and keep listening to it. Because my friends down here are trying to make shit happen. And we're going to make some shit happen.